Leading into our cover story, we will be talking about the highly controversial Omega Mystery Box. We will reveal the story behind the first edition Charizard slab that was pulled. So, quick recap on the controversy surrounding the Omega Mystery Box. First, people doubted the legitimacy of Omega Mystery Box because of the amount of junk slabs being opened. There are people out there that thinks Omega Mystery Box is a scam because they didn't believe that the Charizard was randomized into the Mystery Box. I mean, I cannot think of another Mystery Box with a chase that's worth around 40, 50k, so it's a legitimate concern that the Zard might not be in there. However, it was actually recently pulled live on camera by a small TikTok streamer, and I'm sure a lot of people were surprised that it was even pulled. So, Jesse, I'll let you take over and share your side of the story on who ended up with that Zard.
Yeah, so this mystery box has been the center of a lot of controversy in the hobby over the last, I would say, 4 to 5 months. And I would like to preface this by saying the owner, Sean Bassick, has no business association with either of us. So we're not doing this to clear his name or to do anything, but we're just trying to come out and state the truth and nothing but the truth. And I think it's a very interesting story. And before we talk about exactly what happened, I want to cut to the chase and let you guys know that I currently am the proud owner of the CGC Gen Mint 10 First Edition Charizard that was pulled from the Omega Mystery Box. And as you guys can see, it matches cert numbers. This is the exact one that was pulled and given to the winner. His name is Lord Jucifer on Instagram, Andrew Sussman. And yeah, I'm gonna go into kind of like the story on like how I was able to find and acquire this piece of grail in the modern hobby. Around that time, I was searching for a clean PSA 10 first edition Shadowless Charizard or a clean CGC Gen Mint 10. I was able to find a few that I kind of liked, but wasn't able to come to terms in terms of the price. And most of the old cert PSA 10 first edition Charizards are in terrible condition, even though they're going for like $200,000 and $250,000. So I wasn't able to find one for the longest time, but I believe this was late February. I did see a YouTuber by the names of Dr. Applesauce post a screenshot or a picture on his YouTube community account saying that, hey, somebody pulled a first edition Charizard from the Omega mystery boxes. Immediately, I texted my friend Zach, and I want to be very clear. Zach, Genman, Pokemon, and I have been friends for like the last 4 or 5 years. So we're very close friends, and he actually came and visited me in December of 2023 and stayed at my house for a few days and brought like 10 Omega mystery boxes for me to see. So that was literally my only exposure to the Omega mystery box. I opened up 10 boxes with him, and I remember the whole time he was super nervous. Every time we opened a pack, he was like, hey, let's pull out our phones just in case the first edition Charizard is pulled. We have to get it on camera, because if we don't, then people think that we never put it in. So that was my exposure to the Omega mystery box, but I didn't really think much of it. I thought it was a pretty cool concept. It was very hard for us to pull any really good hits, just like a lot of other people are experiencing. But for the most part, the expected value for the box is around the $250 USD expected value and retail mark. So I didn't have any business association with the Omega mystery boxes. We didn't buy anything. It was just strictly a product brought from a friend to show us this is something cool that he was working on. So anyways, back to March of 2024. No, actually, no, this is last week of February of 2024. I found out, I looked up the scans on CGC. I was like, this is actually one of the cleanest first edition Charizards I've seen in my life. For those of you that don't know, CGC scans on the site is super bright and super high definition, and it barely hides any flaws, unlike the PSA scans, which is usually slightly darker and it hides the surface flaws. If there is a scratch on your CGC card, it will show up on the scan because of how bright it is and how high definition the scans are. So I was looking at it, and there is literally no print lines and no scratches on the hollow. The front centering is around 46.54 and 48.52, which is within the PSA 10 parameters. And there's only one small nick in the back. So I was looking at it. This is stronger than every PSA 10 Ult Cert first edition Charizard I looked at for the last 3 months. So I was like, I wish I could find this person and make him an offer so I can actually buy the super clean first edition Charizard. Fast forward a couple days, I saw Rattle Pokemon make a video about the situation. And in the video, he did some digging and found out the username of the person is Lord Drucifer. And I was like, that sounds like a pretty interesting name. I don't think there's too many Lord Drucifers out there on Instagram or on social media. So by chance, I searched them up on Instagram and I found a guy named is Andrew Sussman with a picture on his profile, a very, very pixelated picture of a first edition Charizard. It looks like a screenshot was taken from his iPhone 7 or 8 or something back in the day. So I was like, this must be the guy because it's an older account. So very highly unlikely that someone is trying to impersonate this person because of that Rattle video. So I started talking to him, and I guess we can pull up the screenshots. As you can see, on February 23rd, I asked him, "Hey, Andrew, word on the street is you pulled the CJC 10 Zard from an Omega box. Are you open to selling it?" He said he's taking offers. And then I asked him if he had the card, and you can see this is a very, very blurry screenshot of a Charizard. I was like, in my head, I thought this guy probably doesn't have the card because why can't he just take a better photo of it? This looks like a screenshot from a photo that contained the Zard with a bunch of other cards. Exactly. So I was like, hey, can you send me a better photo? And then he sent me some more and says this is the closest I can get. And he was saying I have an iPhone 11. So I was like, oh, makes sense. So then I started asking him about certain different things. There's a lot of the conversation that's not a screenshot here, but basically at first he rejected my offer for around, I believe, 40 something thousand USD because he wanted half 50% PSA 10 comps. So I actually didn't talk to him for another 3 days, but then I came back and asked him, like, I can offer you this much money. We ended up reaching a deal, but that was when the challenge, actually, the real challenge started. We were trying to negotiate a way for him to take payment. He wanted a cash deal at first, but I was like, I don't really want to go to the place that he mentioned because it's 5 hours away from the nearest airport. And then I started asking him for wire info, and he says he doesn't have a bank account that takes wire. And also he doesn't have a PayPal that can, he doesn't have a bank account that can link to his PayPal either. So it's around that time I was like, this is probably not going to work because it's almost impossible for me to get this money to Andrew without seeing him in person, giving him cash. And I want to say, like, Andrew is a really nice guy, and I believe he's a veteran that served his country. So this is nothing against him personally. It was just kind of a complicated situation for me as the buyer of this very expensive card to safely transfer my money to this guy so I can receive the card in return. After a while, he decided to go and get a bank account that could be linked to his PayPal so I can send him PayPal. And we ended up doing that over the span of 2 or 3 days after. And these are the screenshots to show that it actually happened. His PayPal wasn't able to take the full amount on the first day. After that's done, actually, before we did that, we actually found a middleman who owned a shop in his area. So he delivered the card to the middleman before I sent him the money. And after he received the entire amount, he actually gave the middleman the go-ahead to send me the card. And I feel like if anybody wants to do a big transaction with someone that you don't really know and doesn't have a lot of references online, you please utilize a middleman. People that own stores are not going to risk their reputation to make a quick buck. So this is a very safe way to do it without going there in person and doing a cash transaction. It's what I usually do, and it's worked very well for me. So long story short, after a week of planning, I believe I received the card on March 1st. And again, this is 3 or 4 days before I've spoken to Sean Bassick for the first time. The reason why we wanted to show these receipts is to show people that I legitimately didn't know who this guy was. And this is someone that is pretty likely to be a random winner, because if this was Sean Bassick receiving the card, he would have given me like all kinds of payment options, right? Like cash,
Right.
crypto, PayPal, wire, Venmo, like all kinds of different things. The fact that
Yeah.
this guy was not able to take any form of payment, it shows me that this is a random person that won the giveaway. So again, we're not doing this to clear anybody's name. We're just doing this to state the facts away from any type of narrative. I'm not saying that this guy, the owner of the Omega Box, didn't do anything else shady. I have no idea. I have no experience or expertise or any inside knowledge on that. But for this particular card, it was actually randomly placed into an Omega Mystery Box, and it now belongs to me. After some help with Rattle's video and some tough negotiation with Andrew Sussman, I believe a lot of people would have given up on this card after hearing that. There's one point, I don't know if you have the screenshot here, but he was asking me to deposit some money into a Walmart account, which I've never heard of.
Right.
Do we have that in the next screenshot? Yeah, so this part, he was saying, hey, do you guys have Walmart? I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, you don't even need to go to the store. You can do an online money transfer on Walmart. And so I was looking at it, and it literally links me to a page that looks like Walmart that I have to deposit money into. So at that point, I pretty much almost gave up on this deal. I was like, this is probably not going to happen, because I'm not going to send money to this random link that he linked me. And that was something that I was very, very concerned about. And it was a red flag. Red flags are all over the place, but for this particular card, I thought it was worth exploring other options. So eventually, I ended up asking him to make a PayPal account. And in order to make a PayPal account, he actually went to the bank and made a bank account that was able to be connected to his PayPal account. And we found a middleman in Philadelphia, which is close to where he lived, I believe. And he drove down to the middleman who owned a shop and dropped off the card. And the arrangement was I have to pay him in full, which took 3 days because his PayPal account wasn't able to take the full amount on the first day. And once he
Mhm.
confirmed receipt of the payment, he informed the middleman who owned the shop to send me the card. And I recommend this transaction method to anybody that's looking to buy a big card from people that have less references, or just a big card in general, because you don't want to take the risk of someone receiving the money first and not having the card. Using a middleman that's reputable, that owns a business, is always the better way to go, because no one will risk their reputation and their shop and their business to make a quick buck. So it ended up working well, and I believe on March 1st, I was the proud owner of the CGC 10 first edition Charizard. I had it in my possession, and just look at how beautiful this thing is. It is cleaner than all of the PSA 10 old search that was offered to me, and I'm super happy to receive this. And I just want to
Amazing.
say, like, the main reason why we decided to tell the story is, number one, it was a crazy journey to get this Grail card. And number two, we have no business association or financial interest with Sean Bassick, but we are good friends with Genman Pokemon Zach, and he's had a great reputation in the community for a long time. And I would like to state the truth and nothing but the truth, because I don't know anything about Sean Bassick, but I've known Zach for a long time, and I know he wouldn't do anything to harm the hobby or anything to scam anybody. And from our experience, this card was placed randomly into an Omega Mystery Box. And this is something that I strongly believe, because if Sean Bassick was the recipient of this card after the giveaway, he would offer me all kinds of payment options. I believe he's going to say something like cash, Venmo, uh, all kinds of different options like
Right.
wire transfer. This guy had no idea to take this amount of money. So it has to be someone that's random that won it. And as you can see on screen, there's Zach placing the first edition Charizard into a random mystery box. And to hold ourselves accountable, I want to show the screenshots of me and Sean Bassick's conversation too. The first time I've spoken to Sean Bassick on Instagram, I believe, is March 4th, which is 3 or 4 days after I've received my first edition Charizard from the Omega box. And as you can see, this was after someone sent me a screenshot of his story selling a bunch of his Gold Star Pristine 10s, or a bunch of pristine 10s. And if you look at this, you can see that I'm asking him, hey, how much are you asking? And asking for his cards. I was genuinely blown away by the number of crazy cards he had in his collection. And I asked him for his name. He said it was Sean. And then eventually, I actually realized this might be Sean Bassick. So I was like, if you can see on the screen, I was like, I just realized it's Sean Bassick. So this is the first time I've spoken to Sean. And I've not met him in person at this point. And I've only met him in person one time at LA Collecticon on March 8th. Again, he's been super nice to me, but I have no financial incentive to make him look better than he is. I don't know anything about his business ventures. I'm only here to state the truth and nothing but the truth. And the truth is, this first edition Charizard in my possession was placed in an Omega Mystery Box. So just to offer you guys, the story, I think it's super cool. And for the first time, I'm able to tell it in full to the world. And yeah, that's that.
Yeah, my ending conclusion is that the Omega Mystery Box is not a scam. And I do trust Zach, Gem and Pokemon. He is a very reputable person. As you can see in the prior shot, he placed the Zard into the stack of slabs, and you can clearly see the Charmander Pristine 10 that was also placed along with the Zard. And on the right, you see Lord Drucifer's TikTok account, and he also have the Pristine 10 Charmander in his possession. So I do believe that Gemman truly placed the Charizard inside, and then it was not tampered with.